Well, welcome all to the SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at all the Jeeps out there, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another episode of Making Fun of Other Vehicles is Jimmy Jet. How the hell are ya, sir?
I am doing fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's your Jeep doing?
Jeep? What Jeep?
Well, you're Jeep and Jimmy, right?
No.
Oh.
No.
I mean, that's what this t-shirt says right here.
Yeah. What's yours say?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have this t-shirt behind me.
I haven't. I've actually never owned a Jeep in my life.
That's, I guess.
I have never
owned one.
I've driven Jeeps.
Uh-huh.
My very first vehicle I learned to drive on was a Jeep.
Yep.
But it wasn't mine. So.
Okay.
I've owned Fords.
Yeah?
I've owned Toyotas. I've owned Hondas.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
So pretty much Asian vehicles.
Minus Fords.
Well, they're all made from China stuff anyway, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
just like GMC and
just like,
Chevy.
Yeah, exactly. Toyota is the only American-made truck, just FYI.
It is maybe the most American-made right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. No longer Mexican-made.
Yeah, exactly. So, fun stuff. FYI, the more you know. Here's a fun fact.
Ready.
That everybody's going to laugh at me for.
Yes.
You laughed at me.
I told you.
Uh-huh. I learned it a week ago. Well, when is this episode airing? I learned it about a week ago. 6 days ago from when this episode airs.
Okay.
That GMC and Chevy are the same company.
Yes.
And you were like, yeah, it's like Toyota and Lexus. I was like, what are you
talking about?
What are you talking about? You're like, yeah, GMC and Chevy. It's like Toyota and Lexus. I was like, yeah, which one, like, what is their Lexus? And you're like, no, they're like Toyota and Lexus. I was like, yeah, what is their Lexus? And you're like, no, they are like, I was like, yeah, I know. What is their other brand is their Lexus? And you're like, no, they are. That's Toyota.
GMC is Lexus.
Yes.
Chevy is Toyota.
I was like, no, it's not. Get out of here.
And I was like, look, you know what the Silverado looks like. And here's the Sierra passing us right now.
And I was like, wow.
It's the same freaking truck.
Wow.
Yeah, he never put one and two together.
And everything just like all of a sudden clicked on the GM, the corporate bolt, the axles, and I was like, wow. That flew over my head for years.
Forever.
I just learned it a week ago. So, so shit. Yep. Anyways, if you guys want to call in and make fun of me,
welcome to 2025, Tyler.
I know, right? You guys can call in and make fun of me at 408-800-5169. That's the best number to do that at. So,
and they will definitely play that on the air.
I shouldn't have given that number. Oh man. Anyways, this is a Monday episode. Hopefully everybody had a fantastic weekend. We are going to be talking about nerdy topics today.
Somewhat. Yeah.
Yep. I think it's a very
out of this world topic.
Hey, look at you go. It is an not otherworldly, just out of this world topic to be talking about. I like that. Good job.
No problem.
But before we do, we have to say goodbye to a good friend because we are coming up on April.
We are.
Yeah. So
that means April yet? Or is today the 31st?
It's close. I don't know.
Today's the 31st.
Okay. So there's not 28 days in March.
No.
Got it.
Nor are there 32.
32 days in March. Dang it. So anyways, we're almost saying goodbye to our good friends at Devos from the month of March. So, I mean, technically you guys have until like tonight at midnight, 11:59 p.m. to get in for the Devos Light Ranger giveaway. And I'm pretty certain it's going to be a Light Ranger 2000 for you guys, which is pretty freaking awesome. We got to learn a lot about what Devos has been up to in their interview this month. So definitely check out the Light Ranger 2000. It's got some really nice, handy features upgraded from the 1200. If you guys ever got one of the 1200s, and if you didn't, I highly recommend getting one of the 2000s.
Yes. I want a return and buy deal.
Trade-in
I
program.
want a trade-in program. I want 2 of my 2000s for. I'll give you 2 1200s. You give me 1 2000.
That could be interesting.
Or something like that.
And then they can have like a what is that? The REI garage sale, yard sale program, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, check it out. Tonight is your last time to be able to get in for that over at irate 4x4 under the Snail Trail 4x4 forum there at irate4x4.com. That's where your sign up options are.
Yes.
So, and also tomorrow, April 1st, we're opening up the gift box tier.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting news. The gift box tier is open just for this month. So you have this month, next month, April, to sign up to be eligible to get a gift box from us in November, October, because I get to claim 2 months.
There you go.
Jim's box and Jim's month. So you have to sign up in April. You have to be in the tier the entire 6 months, and then we will send you a gift box at the end of that month or at the beginning of the month. However that works out. We're sending you a gift box.
Yep.
So if you're going to go over and you're going to switch, move up or move out of the tier, you need to do that on your own through your PayPal subscriptions. So if you're going to change any tier around, whether you're going from 5 to 10, 10 to 20, or down the ladder, you need to go over and cancel the tier that you do not want anymore. You can sign up for the tiers on irate 4x4, but if you sign up for anything different than what you're currently in, you need to go over to your PayPal account, log in, check out your subscriptions, and cancel the one that you do not want.
Perfect. I like it. Yeah, big stuff, fun stuff. This is the time of the year, one of the 2 times per year that you guys get to change around your tiers and either get into some fun stuff from gift boxes or not.
Yeah.
So,
and gift boxes are probably going out pretty soon.
Yeah.
From on Monday here. So that's exciting news there. I do also want to say that we have the discount code with Devo still going on. It'll probably be going on for another week or so. I think we talked him into extending it just a little bit because we did the interview a little later in the episode or in the month. So the discount code is SnailTrail12 to get 12% off all the Devos ecosystems that are out there. And I think they told us off air that the fire pit might be discontinued in the near future. So if you are interested in getting a killer fire pit, check out theirs as well. So 12% off SnailTrail12.
Perfect. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else is there? There's giveaways for reviews. That's how Jimmy and I bribe everybody. We have an Onyx off-road 1-year elite membership. Once we reach 700 reviews, we might be there. We were getting really close, and we haven't checked reviews in a few weeks. So we'll have to check that and see if we're due to finally give away that second elite membership. So if not, you guys don't have that much space left to get in for that, to have get a chance to win that elite membership. So make sure you go over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review for the Snail Trail 4x4 show. That'll automatically enter you for reviews that we do, giveaways we do for the reviews. So that one's coming up at 700. At 750 reviews, we're giving away finally a full set of tires from Yokohama, which is pretty awesome. And they're coming out with new tires here over the next year. So you guys might have a chance, if the timing coincides, to get one of their brand new tires, a set of their new tires, which is pretty exciting. So
yeah, that's rad. That's really cool.
Yep.
Definitely.
So that's at 750 reviews. Let's see, what other giveaways do we got going on?
I think that's it.
Cool. We know what we have for April. That's gift boxes. We're giving away a couple gift boxes for April.
We can talk about
gift
that.
Box month. So once we get down to I think it's probably the second week of April, because we want to give everybody a chance to get their gift boxes and open them before we ruin the surprise on the podcast. So I'm guessing second week of April, we will talk about what's in the gift boxes. That way you guys will know what is going to be in those for the giveaways for April, as well as you'll know how much you're missing out on gift boxes and go get signed up before the end of April. So
Absolutely.
let's see. What else is there? Anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Sounds good. Then let's go hear from our good buddy over at Four Wheel Underground, Mr. Brian. Do we have that new recording up running?
Yeah.
That was fun. It was fun sitting down with him. I really wish we'd kept some of the blooper ones
I know.
where he really just kind of loosened up and said whatever he wanted to say.
Yeah. Maybe I should run that one just this time.
Just one time. see who hears it.
All the F-bombs.
It was pretty good. I was like, Brian, our audience would appreciate that one. Let's just keep that one. He goes, no, we can't do that one. So anyways, we'll hear from Brian at Four Wheel Underground. He's got some new stuff coming out very soon. So we're going to be having him on the show to talk about those once he releases them. But in the meantime, he has some smaller items that he's releasing and launching. And he's kind of turning Four Wheel Underground into kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of different things now.
Yes.
Not just full suspension kits.
Yeah, I agree.
So pretty cool what he's kind of morphing Four Wheel Underground into. And we're always happy to have him as part of the show. He's a fun dude and doing some really cool things with Four Wheel Underground. So we'll get to hear a little bit from him, and we'll be right on back with today's main topic.
At Four Wheel Underground, we have something for everyone's 79 through 04 Toyota vehicle. Whether you've got a Chevy Dana 60, 05 and up Super Duty, fabricated, FJ80, or mini truck axles, we got you covered. 3-link, 4-link, parallel, and triangulated suspension kits, we've got you covered. Under bed coilover mounts, through bed coilover mounts, trailing arms, cantilevers, custom tuned coilovers, and air bumps, we've got you covered. Frame stiffeners, subframes, skid plates, shock towers, and more to come. Make sure to use coupon code SnailTrail at fourwheelunderground.com because we've got you covered.
Welcome back, ladies and germs, to today's campfire discussion. This is definitely something that, had this happened in the middle of summer, where I'm doing a lot of my like weekend wheeling trips, multi-day wheeling trips, this is absolutely something I would be talking about around a campfire.
Yeah, 100%.
So you already kind of talked about the genesis of it a little bit on the previous Thursday's episode, right?
Right.
So let's go over that again and talk about how this came up, and why we're discussing
what
this.
we want to talk about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. So, long story long.
Yeah, that's a good way.
A few weeks ago, I got new internet at my house. We finally have fast internet in the middle of nowhere where I live. And the fastest I used to have was 16 down, 1 up. And then Starlink came around.
To give people an idea, Jimmy lives in a place where the roads randomly shut down because people are herding their pigs. So it's just FYI.
True. To some extent. Yeah. And I live in a place where they just, within the last 10 years, put a yellow line down the road.
Yeah. True. As well.
Yeah. So, anyway, so the internet was never the big thing out where I live. And I mean, I swear for the longest time, because I'm in the house that I grew up in, right? So I'm in my childhood home. I had dial-up, I've had DSL, I've had cable, I've had everything, and it's always been slower than molasses. It's just so freaking slow. Like you could throw a dead cat around in the yard and be faster than the internet that was out there.
Yeah.
So that 16 down, 1 up was the fastest I could get. That was AT&T. And then I figured, well, I'll just get Starlink. Like it's going to be the best option for me. It's, they say I should be able to get like 100 down, 10 up. So that's way faster. Granted, it's over or around double the price of what I was paying, but for the speeds and what I do, I need it faster. Yeah. I can't survive on this 16 and 1.
No.
So I got Starlink. And then, I don't know, I've had it for a little over a year, I think. And just recently they ran fiber down the road. and then up my little tiny road. And I said, as soon as this is available,
Yeah, you're running out talking to the
I'm
techs. They're
talking to the
installing
tech.
the
What
fiber
are you
lines.
doing? What's going on here? Are you going to run this to my house? How do I get this set up? Yeah, all the questions came out all at once, and I sounded like a mumbling myrtle or whatever. But
Were you throwing a dead cat around the yard while you're doing it?
yeah, maybe a bit. Anyway, so finally got hooked up. I got a notice on my door that internet is now available, and I called that day and signed up after talking to my wife that next day, the following day. And I signed up for the slowest plan they offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is 300 down and 300 up.
Yeah.
And it's and with minus fees and sign up fees and everything else that goes on with it, it roughly comes out to be $36 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm spending like Starlink's $120 a month. This is $36, roughly $40 a month. And it's like over 3 times faster.
At 3 times the speed plus more on your upload and a third the cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no brainer.
Yep.
I could have gone up to 2 gigs up and 2 gigs down.
Yeah.
2,000 up and 2,000
Yeah.
down. But I was like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I'm at 110 roughly. I was at 80 and like 8. And it was okay.
You're not hosting an illegal pirating server at
Not
your home?
anymore.
Not anymore? Okay.
I was.
That's too bad.
It took me like 4 days to upload a movie.
Yeah.
Back when I was at the other house.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, so I canceled my Starlink because I have fast internet. I got it near the beginning of the month. My service ran until the 21st of March.
Mm-hmm.
So they kicked me off of, I canceled Starlink and I turned it off, and they turned the whole thing off the other day, and all of our devices, we forgot to change over. So everything's said, we don't have internet. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But the next day after my service ended, I got an email from Starlink, and it says this: new Roam 10 gigabyte backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
Feel prepared for emergencies with Starlink for backup. Our new Roam 10 gigabyte plan gives you peace of mind for enough data for a typical day of use for $10 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Need more than 10 gigs? Add a data plan to your account. Super easy. Starlink offers reliable coverage when you need it the most.
Yep.
Reactivate here.
Yeah.
But it really brought up an interesting conversation we were going to have on Thursday, and we realized we don't have the time for this. We want to, this could be an entire episode.
Yeah.
Is $10 a month for 10 gigs.
Yep.
Is really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's roaming. So now I can literally take the dish off my roof and I can go anywhere in the nation, possibly anywhere in the country. That might be a different plan. Or I mean, in the world.
Yeah.
I think that's anywhere in the United States is one plan, and I think anywhere in the world is another plan.
Okay.
For anywhere in the nation for $10 for 10 gigs.
Yep.
And how this now has turned into a very reliable emergency situation. Communications.
Yeah.
So I need to change mine over to a 12-volt system, or figure out a way to get a Gen 3.
Yep.
Which that's not the topic of today. The topic of today primarily is it worth it? Should people consider this? Like, I know even prices on, if you don't have a Starlink, prices on Starlinks have gone down.
Yep.
A lot.
Because
I think I spent like $700 to get the dish and modem and receiver and everything.
Yep.
And I don't know what they're at now.
So that's a good question. That's a lot of what we're going to be diving into.
Okay.
So, yeah, first off, that's the crux of it, right? Starlink just announced, I mean, before it was for the roaming plan. So for an off-roading use for Starlink, or for somebody that's a van lifer, somebody that's going out camping regularly, and they got a Starlink for having touch with society in the middle of nowhere where you have no cell service, right? The only option available was $150 a month roaming plan, and it was $150 a month, unlimited data.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, but it's expensive because if you're not going out camping that month, you just wasted $150.
Yeah.
Right?
And my thing was, what if I'm only camping one weekend? So I'm spending $150 to have my Starlink on for a weekend.
Yep.
And so I could have internet. I'm kind of like, well, in a way, I'm going camping to get away from some of these things.
Yep.
So it's like, do I really want that?
Yeah. So that's why, like, I've always been a proponent of ham radio, of course, as we all know. But another nice option is Garmin.
Yeah.
Is a Garmin InReach. It's roughly, for the hardware, compared to a Gen 2 Starlink. Hardware for a Gen 2 Starlink was a little bit more than the InReach. But the service plan for an InReach is way, way more doable, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like 10 or $15 a month, and you get a certain number of messages you can send. And like the unlimited plan is like 40 or $50 a month, something like that. Compared to a Starlink, that's $150 a month. Now, granted, there's a lot more you can do with a Starlink.
Sure.
Because you have data service, not just messaging services.
Correct.
So once you have data services, you can make phone calls, you can do video calls, you can download repair manuals, you can watch repair YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot more you can do with data. So there's definitely a massive value there, being able to have that over an InReach.
Sure.
Right. InReach is pretty much like your ham radio. You're pretty much just using it to contact somebody to say, I'm fucked. Come help me.
Yeah. If I was on the ham radio and you weren't out with me, I'd be like, hey, ham radio people, I need you to get in contact with K6TLR. Tell them to get on the radio. I need to talk to them, you know, and I don't know if I'd hand out the number or how I get a hold of that, or somebody on there would probably know who you are. You know, and then I'd be like, hey, Tyler, I broke this specific thing on Bobcat. I need you to do some research to figure out how to fix this. And then, hey, and can you bring those parts out to me?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So that's like, ham radio and Garmin, in my opinion, the InReach kind of fulfill the same niche needs, right? Whereas Starlink fulfills a whole nother plethora of needs or use cases, right? So there's extra value in that plan. And it's definitely not something that, in my opinion, was worthwhile having on 24/7 if you're just using it for camping purposes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But now with this option that they just included, it's a really cool and super smart option that they did. They realized that people were using it for this use case purpose of emergency communications, or the once a weekend camper that doesn't use it for the other 28 days of the month.
Yeah. I honestly wish they would just go to a pay by use plan where I could just have it off 99% of the time. And then when I'm going out and I use 10, 20 gigs in a weekend, I pay for that.
Well, that's sort of what the $10 a month, 10 gig plan is. Because it's $10 for the first 10 gigs. After that, I think it's $2 per gig you use over that.
Okay.
So it is kind of pay as you go. It's just a little bit more pricey on your overages than what your plan is.
Sure.
But
if I don't use it, I don't want to have to pay.
Yeah, that's fair. But that one of the nice things about Starlink is that they don't have contracts on the plans. You can turn it on and turn it off.
Sure.
You just pay for essentially 30 days at a time. You can't prorate your turn on and turn offs.
Okay.
So, you can turn it on, say you're like, I know I'm going camping this month, but I'm not going camping for the next 2 months.
Right.
You can just shut it off after your camping trip, and it'll say, okay, well, your billing is good until this date, and then after that, it'll be off.
Which was March 21st for me.
There you go.
And then all of my devices in my house
went
offline.
Yep. So it's a really cool setup, really cool business plan, really good usage, and in theory, great applications.
Yeah.
For off-roaders, campers, van lifers, etc. That want to have a cheap option for data usage while you're out there. I mean, this is the service plan alone is cheaper than InReach and Garmin's service plans.
Yes.
And you get data out of it, right? So already we're ahead of ham radio comms and Garmin comms as options in terms of value for what you're paying.
Sure.
But
But I mean, so in a way, let's break down a little bit of money.
Okay. I'm
that's,
here.
That's kind of what I was going to go towards. How much is the new Starlink? Isn't
The
it
Gen
like
3?
Yeah, isn't it like $350?
It's about $350.
So
that's
it's
your
like half-
average.
Half
your
of what I
average
paid
price.
for a Gen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it, Elon. Anyway, so it's $300 to get a Starlink now.
Yep. You can find them on sale. If you wait till Black Friday, you can probably get them $250 to $300.
Yeah. Or find them on Facebook Marketplace because people are selling them anyway.
Yep.
I was almost tempted to buy one when I was doing that direction. Anyways, so you're looking at $300, rough $350 to get the device.
Yep.
And then a $10 monthly fee.
Yep.
Whenever you want to turn it on.
Yep.
How much? And InReach is
$450 to $550 depending on sales.
Is it that much?
The full one, the InReach Mini, I want to say is about the same price, $250 to $350.
Okay. And then it's $40 to $50 a month
For the unlimited plan.
Okay. Or
They have
$25 for the limited text.
I want to say they have different levels. I
Okay.
want to say you can get like 5 to 10 messages, something like that, for like $10.
Okay. Right. And then a ham.
A ham.
How much is a radio?
A good radio.
A good mobile radio.
A good mobile. You can get in my opinion, the entry level mobile radios that you want off-roading are going to be able to start around $200.
Right. You can get a handheld.
That's
which
$40,
$40, $50
bucks.
But they're just not powerful.
No.
Like if you're doing like remote stuff, you want a lot of power.
You want 50 watts.
You want
for
a
sure.
50 watter.
Yep.
So we're looking at $200. And then the monthly fee?
No monthly fee.
No monthly fee.
No annual fee. You pay $35 once.
Isn't it more than that now?
No, it was $20.
Oh, okay.
So
went up to 35.
Yep. $35 once in your lifetime.
And then in 10 years, you have to say, I'm still active.
I'm still alive and I'm using this.
Which I might have to do semi soon.
I think mine is up in 2026. So I need to remember to do that. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a little breakdown, very rough breakdown of pricing.
Yep.
You know, it sounds like unit wise, almost kind of the same. They're all within $100 of each other.
Yeah.
A ham radio,
yeah.
An InReach or a Gen 3 Starlink. They're all, they're all roughly around $100 of each other. But service plans, monthly plans.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at InReach's and Starlink's InReach base price.
Yep.
Monthly price. And Starlink's base price are about the same. And then they all go up except for the ham radio, which is free.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's almost the best option is because now you can get data.
Exactly. For the same price, pretty much, you get data with it. That's a massive thing. How many times are you out on a trail and having to diagnose an OBD2 code,
right?
A check engine light or something? You kind of need the factory service manual or YouTube to diagnose electrical issues in your vehicle a lot of times, especially a lot of the newer stuff. So being able to have data there, being able to make a video phone call to maybe your mechanic buddy.
Sure.
And be like, here's my ring gear with 5 teeth missing. Does this look normal?
Yeah. First of all, why is it in your hand?
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Right. So, there's so many more massive uses that you can get out of data that you just can't get out of text messaging or voice comms.
Yeah.
So,
it's super intriguing. And it's really interesting. And especially if you have a Starlink now already.
Yep.
Like this is almost a no brainer.
Yeah. This is one of the great things that I like that Starlink did. They kind of take and are taking the universal approach, right? Kind of like what we did with Morphlate. We want our stuff to work with as many other companies' things out there.
Sure.
And be interchangeable with our own products, right? Starlink's doing the same thing. You can be on their plan, not be locked in contracts. You can change up your plan according to what you need, what your uses are. You can cancel when you want, restart when you want. And all of their plans work with all of their hardware. And so all it is just turning your plan on or off or changing your plan on the fly. You can pay for the faster speeds, a speed boost in your area, all just from the app on your phone.
Yeah.
And if you have the hardware, any Starlink satellite hardware, it works.
Yep.
You just get different speeds out of different hardware due to the different technologies in the hardware and upgrades over the years, but it all works.
Yeah.
So
how does the roaming one work? Do I still need the wireless modem? Like how does that?
You do need all the hardware.
Okay.
So what it does is the satellite acquires the satellite dish, the Starlink dish acquires the signal from the satellite network above us in the atmosphere, right?
Understood.
And then that signal is then transported into your Wi-Fi router, which essentially translate the signal into Wi-Fi frequencies that all of our devices receive on and talk on.
Right.
So 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi frequencies.
Right.
So you do need the router still, or a router.
Yeah.
Use theirs. It works with their stuff, right? Yeah. There's no downside to using theirs, really.
You can't use another router unless you get, because their plug only from the Starlink, from the dish, only works in their modem.
Yeah.
Unless you get another device that intercepts that cable and then outputs it to another modem.
An adapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. An adapter plug of some kind.
Which I had because I wanted my desktop. Well, my desktop's Wi-Fi card sucks. So I wanted it hardwired in. And so I bought that adapter to be able to wire in another modem.
Yep.
Which worked in my favor because then I already had a modem for when they installed my faster internet. And they're like, do you want to use our modem? I'm like, nope.
Nope.
I want
plug
mine.
us in. Yep. So, good. I mean, it's very universal. It's very easy to change your plans. If you already have the hardware, you can easily turn on this $10 roaming plan.
Yeah.
They also just, since we're here talking about it, they have a $50, 50 gig, I believe, roaming plan as well.
So.
And then there's the $150 unlimited plan.
Okay.
So if you're like, man, 10 gigs, I mean, 10 gigs is about your average consumer 1, maybe 2 days. If you're out camping, 2 to 3 days worth of data. So if you're going out and using a little bit more often, maybe that $50 plan, the 50 gig one is a good one for you. The medium plan.
Let's see. I'm gonna click in here and see because it says, do you need more? And it said sign up. So I'm gonna improvise and I'll let me log in and see what's.
Yeah. So you have different levels of plans now with Starlink that you can shuffle your plan around and change it whenever you want. You just have to you're locked into that plan for 30 days is what it is. So if you're, not really going wheeling at all, you shut it off that month. And if you're going out for 2 weekends the next month, or maybe a week-long trip, maybe you do the $50 plan, or you just do the $10 plan and it's $2 per gig after that.
Yeah.
So really cool. I like the way they structured it all. And now we come down to the hardware stuff because I think there's a lot of people out there that got into Starlink during the Gen 2s.
Right.
The Gen 2 Starlink is very costly to transform into a 12 volt a unit.
Right. I agree.
It's set up and designed to work from your home, work from a 110 volt AC power source. And then it actually down voltages, decreases the voltage down to 12 volts to run everything. So there's a little power inverter that the power goes into first to downgrade the voltage to 12 volts to run the system. So in order to modify your Gen 2 Starlink into a 12 volt unit, you kind of have to open up the dish, take it all apart, and bypass that inverter to run on 12 volts.
Okay.
And then you install another inverter for when you want to run 110. So you end up with a dual voltage thing, but you have to kind of take apart the dish and put it all back together in order to do that.
Right.
Which is expensive.
Yes.
I had mine done. It cost me $1,000.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So I bought my hardware for $700.
And then you spent
And then I spent
$1,000.
$1,000 doing the flat mount 12-volt conversion on it, so that I can just mount it flat on surfaces rather than having to be put on a pole.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so all in, I'm like $1,700 into my hardware.
Yeah.
And then the Gen 3 came out, and the Gen 3 makes 12-volt conversions very easy. It kind of goes the other way. Your power, I believe, goes into your modem first, and then gets downgraded to the 12-volt and then sent over to the dish.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So because it does that, I believe it runs at like 36 volts technically in the dish, something like that. But since the power comes into the modem first kind of thing, you can set up your system to run a 12-volt inverter to begin with. And so it's like $40 to get to convert a Gen 3 over to 12-volt power.
So in a way, so really what you're telling me is I need to just scrap my Gen 2 and just spend $350 and buy a Gen 3 instead of spending $1,000 to get it converted. Spend $350 to buy a Gen 3 and then a $40 inverter.
Yep.
But what about my Wagon Tech lithium cube that already has a 110 outlet on it?
You can run the Gen 2 on it just fine. The problem with your Gen 2 is you haven't done a flat mount conversion to it.
Well, that's only if I want it flat, right?
I mean, yes, but the problem though is that it's on a pole on the back that is permanently connected into motors inside the dish.
Sure.
So I don't know.
And that's if I'm using it while driving.
I mean, at driving or at camp or anything.
Yeah. But why? So what if I get to camp and put it on a little tripod out and like on top of my truck?
You can. It just doesn't pack down. So if you're concerned about packing space,
okay.
I have a truck. It takes up a ton of space.
Benefits of trucks, Tyler.
Yeah, I guess.
Not SUVs. Trucks.
Yep.
For the win.
Yep. Another option is a 5-gallon bucket.
I'll just leave it on its pole, like on an antenna on my roof.
Yeah, you can do that too if you want.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
It can be my wings and I'll fly away.
Perfect.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? It'll fit into a 5-gallon bucket. And
another trick is that you put it onto a 5-gallon bucket so that the pole coming out the back of the Gen 2 dish hangs freely in the bucket. And then it just kind of moves around in the bucket as it tries to acquire the best satellite signal.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. So either tripod it, or you can set it on a 5-gallon bucket. But either way, having those motors in it sucks a ton of power.
Ah, that's where you're going with the motors. Okay. So the motors are a power loss and will eat up my battery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got it.
So, yeah, your Gen 2, it'll work.
Sell it.
But I would highly recommend selling it. Plus, like the Gen 2 with the upgrades in the hardware they have in the Gen 3s, and the Gen 3 is getting like 3 times the speed that a Gen 2 gets.
Yeah. All right.
So that would be my recommendation. Anybody who has a Gen 2 with this new program, the new price point, sell your Gen 2 and get a Gen 3 and then spend the $40 converting it to a 12-volt.
Right.
It'll take you a lot longer. Now, here's the caveat to all this. Starlink also released their Mini.
Yes.
So the Starlink Mini gets a slightly better speeds than the Gen 2.
Okay.
In about half the size of the packaging.
How much larger than Gen 3?
It's about half the size of a Gen 3. The Gen 3 and the Gen 2 dishes are about the same size.
Oh, I thought it was.
What makes the Gen 2 a lot more bulky is that pole coming out the back of it.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought the Gen 3 was the Mini.
Nope.
Okay. No. So I'm even off there. So there's a Gen 3 that is more or less the size of the Gen 2, just different packaging.
Yep.
And it's faster.
And it's faster and easier to convert to a 12-volt.
Right.
Yep.
And then there's the Mini that is roughly half the size and gets speeds somewhere between 2 and 3.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then is it already 12 volt?
No, you still have
Okay.
to do the similar 12 volt conversion to it.
Okay.
But I mean, but the mini is, I want to say $150-$200 hardware.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants a Starlink?
Right.
I'm giving away a Gen 2.
I'm seriously, like, I'm donating my Gen 2 flat mount 12 volt to Cal 4.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm just going to give it to them. Because I feel bad. I've spent almost $2,000 on this. I'm like, I'm not going to get my money back for it. And I would feel bad selling it to anybody for more than $350.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm going to buy Gen 3. I'm like, if anybody's going to buy one of these for $350, they should be buying a Gen 3, not a Gen 2.
But yours is already flat mounted.
So is the Gen 3.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh. What about the Mini?
The Mini is also flat mounted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
interesting.
I'm like, a Gen 2 there's no value in a Gen 2. Maybe $50. Anybody want my Gen 2 for $50? You can have it.
I'll take it for $50.
Right.
It's already flat mounted. I'm ready to go.
There you go.
And 12 volt setup.
And then
that's how much an inverter is going to cost.
Tell you what, if you want to donate your Starlink to Cal 4, I'll give you mine.
Okay. I'll think about that.
Okay.
Because I'm also now it's like, well, I'll just get the Mini and it's smaller and,
And
it's
better,
like
faster speeds,
better,
yeah.
faster speeds, and it's well, you know, slightly more than $50.
Yep. Yeah.
$100 more than $50 or so.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the extra little caveat to all this is they have a really cheap plan now that's amazing for one weekend a month going out.
Yeah.
And if you don't go out that month, just turn it off and you save yourself $10. You get to buy an extra Starbucks drink that month. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing, you know, I'm looking at it as like, well, shit. I mean, I'm not going to remember to turn it on and off or when I turn them on and off. And so it's like really $120 for a year. That big of a deal.
it's cheaper than what you paid for 1 month with the regular plan.
It's cheaper than my cell phone for like 2 months.
Exactly. Right. So, yeah, I think that the new low cost plan, the $10 a month for 10 gigs, amazing.
Yes.
Beautiful option. Now, the question is Gen 3 or Mini. I really do think if you're an off-roader camper and you're just looking for emergency comms and be able to pull up repair manuals and YouTube repair videos, get the Mini.
Yeah.
Just go with the Mini. It's cheaper. It's a better packaging. It works better than the Gen 2. And you can use it with the $10 plan.
Right.
I'm personally going to be getting a Gen 3 because I'm be running a business off of it out at events where we don't have cell service. So I need the bigger bandwidth from the Gen 3. But yeah, if you're a little bit more frequenter of being outdoors, and you don't mind a little bit bigger packaging, go with the Gen 3. It's like $100 more or something like that in the hardware and same price on the plan. So
I guess it really comes down to packaging and download speeds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not concerned about the size of the dish and a location to place it, and you want faster speeds, then Gen 3 is your answer. If it does, like, if the speed doesn't matter to you, then the Mini is going to be the answer. And I think, like, for me, it's like, I'm going to go with the Mini.
Yeah.
Because I don't want there to be internet anyway. Like, I don't want, like, but maybe when the kids go to bed and I want to scroll on, you know, Instagram for a little bit, like, I don't need fast speeds for that.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be faster than anything that I'm normally get, if,
right.
you know, or
yeah, your old 16
my
and
old
1.
16 and 1, it's still faster than that. And it's fast enough to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, and in case of an emergency, I can make a Wi-Fi call.
Yep.
On that Mini.
Yep.
And that, I mean, I'm really going to use it for like those two things. Like, hey, I'm out at camp and I just want to scroll the internet for a little bit. Okay. Like, nobody's around. Everybody's asleep and I'm the only one by the campfire.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm having my drink and I'm going to turn on the Starlink and scroll the internet for a little bit.
Yep.
Or I broke on the trail and I thought of another use case. I broke on the trail and I need to get help and get fixed, or I need tools, or I need to figure out how to solve this one problem. Another one is just turn it on real quick if I'm out on the Rubicon because there's no service out there and my wife doesn't have her ham radio license. I'll just turn it on.
Make a call to your wife.
Make a call to my wife for the evening. Talk to her for a few minutes. and be like, I'll call you about this time tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then
Turn
hang
it
up the phone and
Great thing
turn
about
off
that
the Starlink.
is you can talk to her about your gun safe combination
without everybody on.
else on the Rubicon hearing it.
Yeah.
I still couldn't believe they were doing that.
Well, you go home and you change
You change it when you get home.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I've said it before on the podcast that as satellite communications get better and better, I think that we're going to reach a time when ham radio is completely extinct. I don't think there's going to be really a use case for ham radio anymore.
Mm-hmm. Except for general banter between vehicles.
And
We're not going to.
But you can do that on GMRS or something. Like the real goal and highlight of ham radio is to go long distances.
Okay.
For emergency communications, right? With this plan that Starlink just made and the introductions they're doing for the Starlink Mini and packaging their equipment smaller with the satellite comms that's coming to T-Mobile cell phones here very shortly.
Yep.
And once
Apple
they do
already
it,
has
everybody
this.
else is going to be doing it. I really do think ham radio as an emergency communication service is going to go extinct. The only reason to have ham anymore is going to be for contesting.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that does bring up a small little argument about or discussion about iPhones and how they have the satellite comm kind of already in.
The SOS texting.
Yeah. They can do SOX texting through, I think, is it through Starlink?
I believe they're using the Starlink networks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's through some satellite setup. And I mean, I think eventually technology is going to be in our phones.
Absolutely.
Eventually
100%.
it'll be there.
Yep.
It's not yet.
No.
And I do think that will be a ham radio killer to some extent. It'll just be a hobby. It'll go back to being a hobbyist.
Yep. Rather than a prepper thing, it's going to be a hobby.
Problem with GMRS is that there's too limited channels. Too few channels.
True. Yep.
So you're always talking on top of people. It's like the old radios when you used to I have levels 1 through 16 to talk on, and somebody's always on one of those channels.
Yep. True.
So where ham radio, you're like, oh, somebody's on this frequency. Let's go up, 15 hertz or whatever, volts
KZs,
or KZs or whatever,
kilohertz,
and talk on that one.
Yep. Yeah, totally. And that is a benefit to ham radio is there's a lot more space and room for people to talk on, a lot more bandwidth, right? So that is nice. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see where this goes in the future.
Yeah.
Because right now, Starlink Mini, $10 a month plan, pretty damn enticing for everybody in the off-road outdoor recreation.
Yeah.
Just outdoor recreation in general. Like it's to the point where I'm kind of like, I'll open up a Starlink hardware store. I'll figure out where to source them from and sell them myself. Like this is going to be massive for outdoor recreation.
As an emergency communication thing, I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use ham radio as an emergency communication, but it's an emergency as in life and death.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like I blew a tire, I need some help.
Yep.
That's not life
if you're
and death.
not licensed. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not licensed, you can use a ham radio for a life and death situation. Otherwise, you can't use it. So as an emergency communication that's not life-threatening, I think this is by far the best route that anybody could do. It's you can have an easy conversation. You can use your cell phone, which all of us have a cell phone, and typically all of us have power to charge our cell phones all the time. And you can do data. You can do a video call. You can do voice. You can send text messages. You can do it all through the Starlink at now $10 for the month.
Yep.
And that's $10 for 10 gigs. So you still have to be conscientious about what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be, but if you're only out, if you have an emergency and it's that day and for your week trip, then you're going to want to use all those 10 gigs when you have them.
And it's not like it shuts off your service and says, hey, you're done. You've reached your 10 gigs. You don't get any more.
Yeah. You
just pay a little bit more. But if it's an emergency, $2 per gig during an emergency, that's pretty reasonable in my opinion.
Yeah. 100%. So I don't know why I'm not going to sign up for this and go for it. I think it's a great situation. I think that it's an easy answer for an emergency communication. To me, I think $10 is worth it for some sort of communication with my wife while I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I wouldn't be able to talk to her for, a few days while I'm wheeling or whatever. And she wants to know I'm okay, that I'm going to be fine. I mean, I know she trusts me and she knows that I know what to do typically out in the woods, minus some campfire stories, but
bear boxes,
bear boxes and campfires and fires and gas cans. Anyways, I think that, for $10, I think it'll put a peace of mind for both of us.
Yeah.
And that there is an easy way to do an emergency communication in case of an emergency.
Yep.
Also, I think that to some extent that this is going to be a good thing for like Cal 4 events or any kind of outdoor event. Like, can you imagine if we had a Starlink on every single one of the trail leaders?
Yeah.
And then you had a Starlink at base camp, and now you can literally follow people, like GPS them along and see exactly where they are on trails and everything. Or do the mesh network.
Yeah, do Meshtastic with them, and I mean there's technology is getting really, really cool for off-roading. So that's the episode. It's some cool stuff. Everybody should be going out. If you already have Starlink hardware, you should be adding that $10 plan on. If you're like, man, this $150 roaming one is nice, but it's really expensive, this $10 plan is sweet. I
think it's great. My only argument about it is I sometimes just don't want internet while I'm out there, and I don't want the kid or kids to be like, can you turn on the Starlink? I want to do X, Y, or Z. I'm like, no, go run around and fall down in a field because we're out in nature and you should enjoy nature.
Yeah.
Not to like have a Starlink. And I think it really comes down to it will be the same rule that you have with any video game system that your child plays with, where it's like you have an hour.
Yeah.
And then you have to survive in nature without it.
Yeah.
Whereas like back in the day when we had our Game Boys, right? And it didn't require us to be connected to the internet.
Yeah.
It's like I could play Game Boy in the car or for a very short period of time outside of the car, out in wilderness. And then I had to survive and play with rocks and sticks and catch lizards the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So I think, but going back to it, I think as long as you also present it to your family or at least the kids, as this is an emergency use item, then I think they would get that too. So it's not an everyday get to play.
No,
unless you turn it into that.
Yeah, exactly. So really cool stuff. As much as people are weary of Elon right now, good move, Elon.
Yep.
Got to say. So that does it for today's episode. If you guys have feedback for us, call in 916-345-4744. Leave us a voicemail. We love going over feedbacks. I'm curious if you guys think this is a good or bad thing.
Yeah, me too.
Jimmy and I obviously think that it's a really, really good thing. We're both I've already switched mine over to the $10 plan, and I already have plans to donate my Gen 2 and get a Gen 3, and Jimmy sounds like he's doing the same thing or similar. So
many.
I don't know. I'm curious, is anybody out there that really thinks this is a bad thing? I'd be interested in hearing that side of an opinion on it.
Yeah. So. The only negative I see is now we're bringing technology into nature. But if there's another argument to be had, I'm all ears, because I mean, I'm open to all the ideas. That's the one argument that I can think of, but I'm sure if somebody has another one, I would like to know what it is.
Yep. Amber Slauson is going to call in and be like, you guys are stupid.
Yeah.
Don't ever bring technology into the woods.
Yeah, that could be.
Anytime she goes on a run, I'll ask her if she took her Starlink, and she just gets upset and just.
I agree with her.
I do too, but it's just fun picking on her.
I think and I would seriously use it primarily as an emergency communication. Like, I have this so I can call my wife at the end of the night, so she knows I'm still alive. or if I break.
Yeah.
And then I have internet to be able to try to solve it if I need it.
Yeah.
Or if somebody gets hurt, I can phone out
Yeah.
and, SOS 911, get somebody here ASAP.
Yep.
So
Echo 1's coming in for you, buddy.
Yep.
It's the El Dorado County Sheriff helicopter. All right, that does it. We're out of here. Jimmy, any final words for everybody?
I don't know. I'm still really on the fence about whether it's a good idea or bad. I mean, I think it's a great idea, but I'm very Amber Slauson.
Yeah.
In this, like, it's making it way easier to bring technology into nature when I think people really should just appreciate nature.
I agree to an extent. I think that there's definitely a level of it's a tool.
Yeah.
Use it when you need to use it. Otherwise, have it stashed away in your rig.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. For me personally, it'll help me be at a more ease of mind trying to run a business.
Sure.
And if I'm out of the shit happens on the weekends that I have to deal with. Shit happens at late at night. When, other time zones call me because it's their daytime.
Right.
And I have to deal with something at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night. And if I'm out camping, I don't know.
And for you, this gives me freedom to go out camping.
True. Very true.
I'm now able to be in better communications and have the best option to be able to solve problems while I'm out camping. So now I can go out and do these things more.
True. Very true.
For me, it's kind of the opposite. It's sort of, I'm going to be going out all the freaking time. Now I have better communications if shit hits the fan.
Yeah, true. Yep. And I guess that's about it. So on that note, don't forget everybody out there, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
I'm ready.
Why shouldn't you trust stairs?
I feel like it's because you never know if they're going up or down.
Very close. Because they're always up to something.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, I know this one. I've heard this one before.
Yeah.
I think they're always down for something though, too.
They definitely are always down for something.